Hello and welcome to a new video. In this video I'm going to do a deep dive into the Warlock class and I will show you everything new about the cursing demon lords on the upcoming Classic Plus server Project Epoch to answer the question, should you play a Warlock on Epoch? So let's dive in. What is new about the Warlock on Project Epoch? The first interesting change concerns Warlock's curses. On Project Epoch, they adjusted specific curse spells into a new debuff by dividing the spell category into curses and banes. This means you are no longer restricted to only one curse debuff on your target. You can now have two different debuffs, one curse and one bane on your enemy. They changed Curse of Agony to Bane of Agony, Curse of Doom to Bane of Doom, Curse of Exhaustion to Bane of Exhaustion, and Curse of Tongues into Bane of Tongues. By this, you can now use your Curse of Elements, for example, in combination with Bane of Tongue or other spell combinations here. Amplify Curse also got adjusted to Amplify Bane. Talking about Curse of Elements, this got also changed. It now reduces the nature resistance of targets as well to its previous effect, so nice support for our boomkins, shamans and even hunters. The next change affects the AoE abilities of Warlocks. Seed of Corruption got a little bit nerfed because of its strong AoE capability. Epoch staffs moved some base power from the spell into the talents in the Affliction tree. On top, the target affected by your Seed of Corruption now needs to take a little bit of additional damage to trigger its effect. So you get a bit less AoE power in dungeon groups if you're not Affliction spec. More on this later on in the talent section. To compensate for this, Destruction Warlocks got a bit more love. Rain of Fire got buffed on Epoch. It is now able to critically hit to synergize better with the talents inside the Destruction tree. Another change affects your Fire Stones and Spell Stones. Those conjurable stones got reworked to make them more useful by turning them into consumable items instead of equipable items. Your Fire Stone now temporarily enchants your weapon to increase the damage dealt by fire spells, and your melee attacks deal fire damage on top, which is a nice buff for Destruction Warlocks. Your Spell Stones now dispel all magic effects on you by consuming it, which is really strong to break CC in PvP. To compensate the strong changes, those Summon Stones share a cooldown with your Health Stone now. This means you have to decide which of your stones you use. You can't trade your Fire or Spell Stone to other players. A complete new talent to buff your new conjured stones is the Master Conjurer talent. This reduces the casting time of your conjuring stones by 1 second. It also increases the bonus fire damage from your Fire Stone and the Fire Stone effect by 30%. Your Spell Stone also grants an absorption effect when used, and it increases the health of your Soul Stone when someone resurrects by 20%. And whenever a party member consumes a Health Stone, you heal for 10% of the amount it held for them. A nice quality of life update is the adjustment of Health Stone handouts. You don't have to single-handedly create and trade them now on Project Epoch. Instead, you can use the Ritual of Souls to place a Soul Well. This allows other players to click on it and get their own health stone, as in later iterations of World of Warcraft. Fell Armor is a part of the Warlock kit here, which increases the health generation from your own spells and others and is buffing your spell power on top of it. Soul Pact is a new custom spell which you can put on a party member. If that party member dies, you get 1 soul shard and a spell damage buff for 10 seconds. A cool leech spell which you can put on your special overspreading raid member. Another awesome spell is Soul Shatter, which reduces your threat by 50% for all enemies on a 5-minute cooldown. Threat is a big problem for Warlocks and this spell is helping a lot with that. On the talent tree, you also got some interesting changes. Your Soul Siphon in the Affliction tree is now affecting your Drain Life and Drain Soul, and it is buffed up for each Affliction debuff on your target, with only 2 talent points needed for this. Improved Drain Soul is also increasing the damage of your Drain Soul and causes your Affliction spells to generate less threat. Improved Shadowbite is a new custom talent which helps your Fell Hunter by regaining 10% of its maximum mana each time it hits with its Shadowbite ability. Demonic Empowerment is a new spell on Project Epoch inside the Demonology talent tree, which is not only reading as a whole novel, it also grants an effect to your active pet depending on which pet you have summoned. This increases the threat of your Void Walker, the kick from your Fell Hunter, the damage from your Imp and Succubus, and it gives your Fell Guard a big 4-second stun, and also an insane AoE for your Doom Guard. It also buffs your Enslaved Demon spell, and it gives you Infernal immunity. In the Destruction tree, they adjusted Shadow Fury as a 5th row talent and put Demonic Sacrifice as the capstone talent for Destruction. This talent gives different bonuses depending on which pet you now sacrifice. For talents, you have so many options as a Warlock in all different trees, it's kinda insane. It will be hard to say what build are going to be the best, but I will start with a leveling build. So, for a leveling build, I would suggest to level as Affliction and Demonology, and this will look like this. You will start with 5 points into Improved Corruption to decrease the casting time of Corruption and Seed of Corruption. Then you want Improved Drain Soul. This talent is really good for your mana regeneration, and it decreases your downtime by a lot. You also want 2 points into Soul Siphon because you want to drain life a lot. Then you can go into Life Tap, 2 points into Improved Bane of Agony to increase its damage. 1 point into Amplify Bane, you can combine this with Agony for example, and Life Tap again. You can also use Suppression here. 3 more points into Empowered Corruption to increase its damage and also the damage of your Seed of Corruption for dungeon farming. 2 points into Grim Reach to increase the range of your Affliction spells. You obviously want Siphon Life as another debuff. And you can choose where you put your other points now. You can go for Shadow Embrace to decrease the damage of mobs for example, and Suppression. You could also take Nightfall if you prefer that. 5 points into Shadow Mastery to increase the damage and life drain of your Shadow spells. You then want to go into the Demonology tree to increase your stamina, and of course your Void Walker to increase the threat generation of it. Fell Intellect and Improved Healthstones are good options here. For example, you can go like this. We want 3 more stamina for your Void Walker to make it more able to tank. And Demonic Aegis is really good to increase your full armor later on. 5 points into Unholy Power to increase the damage of your Void Walker. Demonic Empowerment is also helping your Void Walker out. And you can go for example Fell Intellect now. Then 5 points into Master Demonologist to also reduce the physical damage taken by your Void Walker, and Soul Link to increase your damage. So this build is really good for leveling. It has everything you need. It decreases your downtime between mobs by a lot because you have so much health regeneration with your channel spells, and you have a lot of stamina, and your pet is able to tank a lot by this. So great leveling build with nearly to 0 downtime. We will stay in the Affliction tree for now. If you hit level 60 and you want to play as an Affliction Warlock, you could go something like this. You want 5 points into Improved Corruption, once again to increase its damage, 2 points into Improved Life Tap, 2 points into Soul Siphon. This is just a really great talent. You can also go Improved Drain Life here for example with 2 points. Amplify Bane is a good option. Improved Agony, always good. Suppression is something you want to max out anyway because 10% hit is insane. With this talent you can go into more spell damage on your gear. 3 points into Empowered Corruption to buff up your Seed of Corruption and Corruption itself. Grim Reach of course, and Nightfall is really good as well as Siphon Life. 5 points into Shadow Mastery and 5 points into Contagion. 3 points into Malediction and Unstable Affliction of course. So this is a good Affliction tree here, which is focusing on your debuffs and curse and bane spells. Then you can go into the Demonology tree. Demonic Embrace to increase your stamina, Fell Intellect to increase your mana. Then you can go Improved Healthstone for example. 3 points into Demonic Edges is really good as well to increase your spell damage. I would suggest to go 5 points into Improved Shadow Bolt here to have more effect of your Nightfall, and the last 2 points can go into Fell Stamina to increase your maximum health. So this could be a viable Affliction tree if you want to raid with this spec in PvE. As always, you can adjust the talents if you wish to. You could also raid as a Demonology Warlock, and you have a lot of different choices here. For example, in TBC there was a Succubus build which was really good and went 0, 40, 21 with Ruin and every support for the Succubus. So such a spec could look like this. 5 points into Demonic Embrace, 2 points into Improved Healthstone, Fell Intellect for more mana, Fell Stamina and Demonic Edges of course, then Unholy Power to increase the damage of your Succubus. You also want to improve Succubus for its increased damage for its Lash. Demonic Empowerment to buff it even more up. Master Demonologist to increase its damage. Soul Link to increase its damage as well. Demonic Knowledge, and you can go 1 point into Mana Feed. And Demonic Tactics to increase the melee and spell critical strike chance for your demon and yourself. Then you go into the Destruction tree, go 5 points into improved Shadow Bolt, 5 points into Bane to decrease the cast time of your Shadow Bolt, 2 points into improved Flash of Pain to increase the Succubus damage, Devastation for more crit, Destructive Reach, you can take Shadow Burn and Ruin. With this spec, you want your healers to heal up your Succubus, but it is able to do a lot of damage in raid, and this could be a really high DPS spec on Project Epoch. Another option would be to use a Felguard instead of your Succubus as your active pet. With this, you want to go something like this here. Demonic Edges, Fel Stamina, Unholy Power, of course. Master Conjurer, this is also a talent you could use for your Succubus if you want to, because it always heals you when someone uses a Hearthstone, so great talent here. Then you could take Fel Domination, for example. Master Demonologist to increase the damage of your Felguard and increase its resistances. Demonic Knowledge, of course, and Soul Link. Mana Feed is always an option here to fill up Demonic Tactics and Felguard. And with your other points, you could go into Improved Corruption and improved life tap, for example, and you also want improved Shadow Bolt, Bane, and you can take, for example, Shadow Burn here. You have 2 more talent points you can put wherever you want to. For example, Suppression could be an option, or Devastation, also improved Drain Soul, also good talent. So something like this could be a viable Felguard playstyle, and as always, you can adjust the talent points how you want. For PvP, the best spec out there is obviously the SL build, which goes into Siphon Life and Soul Link, and it would look like something like this. 5 points into Improved Corruption, 2 points into Soul Siphon, Improved Drain Soul is always good, Suppression is an option here. You want Fel Concentration because you will channel a lot, Amplify Bane is good, as well as Grim Reach to increase your range. Empowered Corruption is always really good, and Siphon Life. I would also take Bane of Exhaustion here to kite people, and you have 1 more point for Affliction here up. You can put it wherever you want it, for example Shadow Embrace, Nightfall if you prefer that playstyle. Those are both good options. In the Demonology tree, you want to go 5 points into Demonic Embrace to increase your stamina. Fel Intellect to increase your mana, improved Healthstone, always good. Fel Domination for its active buff, and Fel Stamina, as well as Demonic Edges. Master Summoner is really good for PvP, as well as Unholy Power. The new talent here, Master Conjurer to get health back when someone uses Healthstones, and Master Demonologist is always good. Soul Link as your bread and butter spell here, and I would go Demonic Knowledge because it's so good to pass on, as well as Demonic Resilience, also a really good talent. As always, you can adjust talent points here. For example, you could go 3 points into Demonic Resilience and take a point from Demonic Edges, for example here. In the Destruction tree, you could play as a Fire or a Shadow Warlock with different playstyles. A playstyle would be to sacrifice your Imp to increase the fire damage you get. A viable tree for this could look like this. You want 5 points into Cataclysm to reduce the mana cost of your destruction spells, 5 points into Bane to decrease the casting time of your Immolate, 5 points into Devastation for more crit, 2 points into Destructive Reach to increase the range of your destruction spells and reduce the threat of it, 2 points into Intensity to resist interruption. You can use Shadow Burn because why not? 5 points into Improved Immolate to increase its damage, Ruin your bread and butter here, and Shadow Fury is also always a good option for it. 5 points into Ember Storm to increase the damage by your fire spells, Conflagrate is always cool, and Backlash for more crit. 5 points into Shadow and Flame, and Demonic Sacrifice because you want to sacrifice your Imp here. Then you can go into the Demonology tree and take Demonic Embrace with you for 15% more stamina, more mana from Fel Intellect. Then you can take Improved Healthstone, for example, Demonic Edges, and Fel Stamina, always good options here. And your last 4 points can go wherever you want to, for example, more crit with Backlash. You could also take Soul Leech to get health back, or you could go in the Affliction tree, or other options you prefer here. So this could be a viable playstyle by sacrificing your Imp and increasing the fire damage you do. Another option would be to play Fire Destruction and not sacrificing your Imp. This talent tree could look like this. You also go Cataclysm here and Bane for sure. But this time you want to improve Firebolt to improve the damage of your Imp. Devastation for 5% more crit. Destructive Reach, obviously a really good talent here, as well as Intensity to reduce the spell pushback. Improved Immolate, Ruin and Shadow Fury, as well as Ember Storm to increase the fire damage you do. Conflagrate and Shadow Burn is a good option here, for example, and 5 points into Shadow and Flame. And with your last points you go into Demonology, increase the damage you deal with your imp with improved imp. Demonic Embrace is really good, which you should take. Fell Intellect, and you have the choice of Demonic Edges or Fell Stamina, take whatever you prefer. I will go with more spell damage here. And this, the Unholy Power to increase the damage of your imp. And lastly, Demonic Empowerment to also increase the damage of your imp. This could be also a viable playstyle by using your imp and increasing all the fire damage you do, could also be really fun to play. Lastly, you could also play Destruction as a Shadow focus Warlock. With this talent tree, I would suggest to go 5 points into Improved Shadow Bolt, 5 points into Bane, 5 points into Devastation for more crit. You also want Shadow Burn and Destructive Reach as always, as well as Intensity, Ruin of course, and Shadow Fury. You can also take Improved Immolate to increase the damage of your Immolate spell, and your other points can go into Cataclysm to reduce the mana cost of your spells. Then you can take Soul Leech here and Backlash to fill up with more crit, as well as Shadow and Flame. Now you want to go into the Affliction tree with Improved Corruption, Improved Life Tab. You could take 5 points into Suppression for the 10% hit. Really good. You could take Improved Agony if you want to, or Improved Drain Soul. Fill up which talent you prefer more here. And then you want Nightfall as well as Empowered Corruption and Grim Reach. This is also a really nice playstyle which focuses on your shadow spells with destruction support, and with Nightfall you could also adjust talent points as you want to, more Grim Reach for example. But with this talent tree you got a lot of shadow support and you can use your Seed of Corruption as well, really effective here. On Project Epoch you can play whatever race you want, because you are able to change your racials with a weekly cooldown. For racials, I would suggest Orc as a really strong overall racial with its strong Blood Fury buff, Command to increase pet damage, and Hardiness for PvP. Other good options could be the Troll racial with the ability to reduce your health with Life Tab and get a strong haste buff with low HP as a Destruction Warlock for example. Gnome racials for its intellect buff and Escape Artist for PvP is also a good choice, as well as Tauren for the HP buff and stun for PvP. Undead is good for leveling with its Get Out of Jail card, and Cannibalize for leveling for decreasing your downtime. So, should you play a Warlock on Project Epoch? The Warlock seems insanely good on Project Epoch. Even with smaller adjustments and nerfs to Seed of Corruption, with all the new changes this class got, it could be the hero class on Project Epoch with strong capabilities in every aspect of the game. You're a menace in PvP with your SL build, or even with other new options in Affliction and Destruction. You will do great DPS in raids and dungeons and bring awesome utility with summons and hellstones to your party, and you have one of the best, if not the best leveling spec overall in the game as a pet class with non-stop farming and grinding potential and nearly zero downtime. You also got so many options to play different playstyles and to find the one which brings you the most fun. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the Warlock class and what spec and version of it you want to play. Thank you very much for watching, and if you found this useful, consider to like and subscribe for more World of Warcraft Project Epoch content.